candidate for tonight, Dr. Selma Bartholomew. She is a candidate for the mayor of New York City. Welcome, 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 Dr. Selma. How are you tonight?
So much, Sister Merlin, and thank you to Win with Black Women and Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote. Come on, let's go. Let's go put a woman in the mayor's office in New York City. We're ready. Let's go.
Okay. Well, you know what? What called you to run for mayor of New York City, and why now?
Well, first of all, people should know that New York City has had over 401-year history, 110 men as mayors and 108 white men as mayors. And so I stepped up because I knew that people wanted change and I wanted to be part of that change. And so I'm bringing my 30 schools and districts across this country. I also saw where the city was going. I grew up in Harlem, in New York City, and I fought crack at a very early age in my life in Harlem. And that really devastated families across the city, whether Black, brown, of all backgrounds. And now I see within our community the proliferation of weed really being pushed upon our children and devastating our communities. And then I also see policies which are designed to really steal generational wealth across the city, and in particular, generational wealth from Black and brown families. And so I could not sit silently. And so, I stepped in. And so I thank Win with Black Women and Sisters Lead, Sisters Vote for giving me the chance to really elevate my campaign tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, what does it mean to you personally to be a Black woman running for mayor in a city like New York?
I want people to know that for me, running is fighting. Certainly we can look historically, and just for example, in June, we were celebrating Juneteenth, and I saw a lot of individuals, we get together, we have the barbecues and, really reflect on the experience. But it's 2025, and for me, as a Black woman in New York City, I own a business. And Black women in New York City, for every dollar, we make less than half a penny. Black men make less than half a penny. And even white women, they say make 2 pennies. But in reality, if you're a wealthy white man, you will put your business in the name of your mother, your father, your sister. And so overall, we are not doing well. And so for me, as a Black woman in this race, I am fighting for opportunity and to really change the narrative for our communities, and change the narrative and really bring a bolder vision for New York City, a city of possibilities. We feel sometimes at this time in the country, it feels dark. It feels like dark, right? But I want people to know that no amount of darkness can ever extinguish a light. And so we now have to come together to solve problems as a city. And that is the leadership that I'm bringing to the mayor's office in New York.
Awesome. What do you say to people? Because, there's a lot of talk about politics and how people are currently feeling. What do you say to people who completely lost faith in local government? And what will you do to restore that?
I want to say to them, I understand. I do understand. And I see why it is that they might be disconnected, because I'm very honest about the history of local government being used, like I said, in order to steal generational wealth. I'm in New York City right now, and we have some of the highest cases of deed and home theft. More than 3,500 families, victim to this racketeering from judges to court. We also see in our city right now, I'm in the Bronx, and we've had over 200 shootings in the Bronx of young people and 500 across the city. So I know what it feels like, but I want them to know that I am bringing a bold leadership, that I'm looking to do things like business, consider the possibilities of what it means to have clean streets again, consider the possibilities of what it means to actually address some of the issues around domestic violence, and really doing the work. right? And so I think people want that. They know that they have a light in them. It's just the fact that they've not had a leader who says to them, join their light with my light. Come on, let's go, New York. We can do this. We can do this together. So I do understand, but I know also that people want change. I spend a lot of time in the community with my team, in all of the boroughs, and they know that they are also being hoodwinked by the media. The media is really pushing and pushing the candidates to put the money. I was denied the debate stage in New York City during the primary. They demanded me to spend $2.5 million to debate. So we know that it's a rigged system, and so we now have to be the change that we want to be in this city.
So let's talk about the city and the boroughs. What's your plan to stay connected to the communities that are in all 5 boroughs?
Absolutely. So first I want to do what I call a quality of life index tool across the city. Be able to help give New Yorkers for some transparency. Based on your zip code and where you live, where the doulas, where's the suicide prevention centers, what things New Yorkers need. And then I'd like to do stewardship block by block. And what we find in our communities, there are always individuals who step up, right? Who say, I want to be a block captain, or I want to be a block leader. But New York City has never invested in community leaders. And so I'd like to invest in our building captains and our block leaders. And I want to do something very innovative. I'd like to bring our youth into that space with them. And I'd also like to bring our police department in order to really rebuild trust and relationships and give them the training and the tools that they need, specifically giving them leadership training and giving them conflict resolution skills, and also giving them the tools in terms of just managing a meeting, where the notes end up, until we can begin to really roadmap for every borough and for every zip code what's happening. And so that allows me the opportunity to really stay close and to really allow the voices of the people to be heard, and then to really align the resources given this quality of life index tool. What do we need? And so in order to really transform the city, we have to be able to assess, and we've got to have the people ready to really do the work together as New Yorkers, which I know that they're ready for. I know that they're ready for. I know that we want to be able to do across the city.
Thank you for that. So let's dive a little bit more into your background. What are some of your past roles that have prepared you to lead this city of over 8 million people?
Absolutely.
Yes,
let's go.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, in 2008, in the middle of the recession, I stepped out on faith, and I trusted that I would step on solid ground or grow wings to fly. And I stepped out on faith, and I formed my own business in the middle of the recession. When everybody else was kind of looking for safe spaces, I stepped out. And I built my own company, and I built my own brand and built teams across this country. And what I do is very specific in terms of really uplifting communities. I say to people, I fix schools. And so people bring me into their schools and into their districts in order to improve education, and to improve in particular STEM and workforce education. In New York City, I have taken several schools from failure to success. I've worked with, for example, Urban Action Academy. I went in there and worked with their principal to raise their graduation rate to above 80%. There's the district outside of New York called Yonkers Public Schools, and the New York State wanted help. They called on me and my company, and we went in and spent over a year in Yonkers. I did one of the largest audits of Rikers Island Prison in New York City. And I've also worked nationally. I've worked in places like North Dakota, Chicago, California. And so my work has allowed me to be in spaces and to be in rooms where people come to me around really asking for ideas and for solutions, and proving to them that we can actually transform communities and uplift schools. And so what I'm bringing to New York City is over 30 plus years of leadership experience. People often ask me, the PhD, are you a doctor? The doctor, are you? So my PhD is in leadership and policy from Fordham University. I hold two master's degrees, one from special education, the Delphi, and another master's also from Fordham in leadership. I have a bachelor's in mathematics and physics, and I have an ABD in pure math. But the dress that fits me well is leadership. And so for more than 30 plus years, I have worked in different capacities. I worked with an organization called New Visions of Public Schools, and I did one of the largest national science foundation initiatives across the city, and really working to help people build relationships with parents, relationships with teachers, relationships with students. And I look at New York right now, and I see that we are hurting, that people need to be able to learn how to better communicate. We need leaders who are able to think mathematically, to look at our systems across our 70 plus agencies, across our ACS, across our health services, and to really look at what are the nature of the relationships and what are we seeking to engender. And so I'm bringing a very different perspective, and a perspective that starts around relationships, but also wanting to fix broken systems. It's time that we actually say that we can actually solve some of the problems that we're facing. An issue I want to tackle for New York City is we have an epidemic of domestic violence in across the country and in New York City. And what I mean by that, across the country, we have over 12 million people impacted by DV. And in New York City, more than 80% of the felons, domestic violence is contributed to that. And so I want to begin to really look at the family, look at networks of care, and think about who's in a child's network of care. Where's the support? And how do we now put supports, right, around individuals from birth right through, and not necessarily always waiting for things to go awry or for things to break in the family. We need to support people. And so I'm bringing my leadership, and I'm honored to ask New York City for the job. I'm asking New York for the opportunity to help them and to really move our city to a place of healing and a place of purpose. That's really good. Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you kind of a different question.
Okay.
If you could have dinner with three New Yorkers, past or present, who would they be?
Ooh, oh, that's a really good one. Three New Yorkers, past or present, who would they be? Wow. Oh, that's a tough one. Well, I think I would want to make sure that I'm having dinner with people who are in different places in their lives. Can I do that? So I would love to have dinner with a grandparent in New York, and to have an opportunity to kind of hear their version of history of New York, because they would have had a chance to see the city, right, really transform over a few decades that I may not have had the opportunity to see. I think I would also like to be able to have, okay, do I have to name a specific name? Let me think. Definitely a grandparent. I think also I'd like to be able to maybe sit with one of our nurses, and I'm okay with whatever community they serve, because I think that we often overlook our nurses and the nature of how they support. So I want to kind of hear their story and gain and certainly gain their insights. Other New Yorkers, I would love to sit with Mother Hale. I grew up in Harlem, and we had a place called Hale House. And she really served as a beacon of light for me very early on. And she was a mother in the community who took care of babies impacted by crack and who didn't have moms of their own. And so I would love to hear her story and hear how she found the courage to do that when there was, not necessarily anybody giving her the money, but she just really stood in the gap. So I would love to have a conversation with Mother Hale. Those would be my three.
All right. Now, you're on the ballot on November the 4th, coming up, less than a month away. How can people find you?
Well, first, what I want to say to individuals, I was on the ballot in June in the primary, and running is fighting for me because I'm fighting a huge machine, right? And so I am an official write-in candidate, and I am a Democrat. So you will not see my name on the ballot. So you must go and actually write in my name, exactly as you see it on the screen, Selma K Bartholomew. Don't put the doctor in it because I already know I'm going to fight people and, they're going to work to steal every vote for me. So Selma K Bartholomew is the writing candidate. Please go to my website, drselmabartholomew.com, drselmav.com. And what I need right now is I need help. I need donations. And I also need people to really do boots on the ground as we move into the next couple of weeks. And I also want people to not be silent. I think that what I want to say to win with women and sisters lead, sisters vote is that people fundamentally do not understand the challenges that we are facing as Black candidates, as women candidates, that the media has been used to actually shut us out, to prevent our stories from being heard. And so this platform has meant the world to me. It really is joy showing up in the struggle. So don't be silent. Call your news stations. Hit us up on social media. Let people know. Put a woman in the mayor's office as we move forward, because we have had 108 white men as mayors. And right now I'm fighting the candidates with hundreds of millions of dollars because they were very quickly able to get matching funds. And you cannot get matching funds until you raise $250,000. So please support, please donate, please volunteer. Go to my website and you can hit the get involved button and sign up. And we look forward to boots on the ground. Get a t-shirt, say write her in. Text everybody. I have somebody who sent me a message the other day and they said, Dr. B, we put your posters up in the bathroom. We're letting everybody know that we want to put a Black woman in the mayor's office in New York City, that it's time to change. So please donate, please support. Please don't be silent. Hit your newspapers up, hit them up and say, why aren't you interviewing Dr. Bartholomew for mayor of New York City?
All right. Well, thank you for joining us this evening. We look forward to seeing how November 4th turns out for you. Everyone should have your link, and we appreciate you coming this evening. Thank you, Dr. Bartholomew.
Thank you so much to Win with Black women. Thank you. Thank you.